Hola a toda la audiencia de Criptonoticias, nos encontramos aquí con Eric Sirion de Fedimint, un proyecto que utiliza la tecnología eCash, creada por David Chaum en los 80, para transacciones más privadas en Bitcoin para comunidades pequeñas. How is it going, Eric?
Great. I've been here for the past 3 days already. First at Bitcoin Plus and now Baltic Honey Badger, two great conferences.
Yeah, and you've been enjoying it?
Yes.
I'm glad. Eric, tell us a bit more about Fedi and Fedimint and all this project. Could you explain in lay terms what it's Fedi or what it's all this project around eCash?
Yeah, so let's start with Fedimint, which is the open source protocol behind the Fedi app and also the currently oldest eCash project in Bitcoin.
Okay.
So Fedimint started in 2021 as the idea, hey, let's bring local community banking to people in a private fashion. So Fedimint, if you have a community that exists already with, let's say, 4 tactical people that can run a node at home, let's say a Start9 or an Umbrel,
Okay.
then they can set up a so-called federation. And that federation holds the community's Bitcoin in a 3 or 4 multisig, like a bank, like a community bank.
Okay.
And it lets the community use this Bitcoin to make Lightning transactions to pay each other day to day in a very private fashion by issuing so-called eCash notes.
So Fedimint runs on top of Lightning.
Fedimint supports both Lightning and on-chain. I wouldn't say it runs on top of Lightning, but it interoperates like everything Bitcoin should. I think Lightning is Bitcoin's lingua franca. Like any new protocol you build, first integrate with Lightning, then you will be compatible with everyone else.
Okay. Okay, so then it's like a local bank. A federation will be like a local bank in which some people with a node, it's necessary to run a node in order to run Fedimint. Is that correct?
So you need a little server that runs the payment software. You don't necessarily need a full Bitcoin node, but we highly recommend running one to be absolutely secure.
Okay.
And it takes 4 people like that. Like if 4 people come together, they can start such a little community federation that then, like you can imagine it, like people use Lightning and Bitcoin today. Many people use Walter Satoshi, for example, or they use Blink, and they also trust someone there. And if you can bring this trust more local, more close to the people that you actually trust, your local community, then that's a big win, I think. And that's why Fedimint is so important.
Okay, that's why Fedimint is a custodial solution.
Exactly.
Okay, and you need those 4 people as signers for transactions, no?
These 4 people have to sign off on the actual Bitcoin transactions. If someone wants to take money out of Federation, for example, on-chain, then they have to sign off. But the cool thing is, you need 3 out of 4 people for that to happen. So they cannot run away with the money unilaterally. Just because one of them thinks, hey, I'd like to buy an orange Lambo, they cannot do that. They would have to convince 2 others of the group to conspire against their community. And if you choose trustworthy people, the chances of that are extremely low.
Okay, so the way it will function is like these 4 people lock certain amount of Bitcoin, be it 1 Bitcoin in HTL, some kind of contract.
Or just a multisig, just a plain old multisig. It's very simple, actually.
Okay, and then they, using this Bitcoin as a store of value, they will issue an instrument, or they will use an IOU, you told me before?
Yeah, so when you deposit Bitcoin into a federation, in return what you get is a so-called eCash note. An eCash note, you can imagine it like a check you get from a bank that lets you spend your money. But it's issued in such a way that the bank cannot tell to whom it was issued, so it's perfectly private. And so the federation cannot tell how many users it has, how much money a specific user owns, how much someone is transacting. They just see, okay, there's transactions going on of a specific volume. We have a total amount of this many Bitcoin in the federation, but no details about any user.
And this is because of the eCash technology, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay, and what exactly is eCash?
So eCash is a protocol invented in the 80s by David Chaum, and it allows you to issue a bearer token, a little piece of data that proves that someone else owes you money, but they don't know to whom they issued this piece of data.
Okay.
To use an analog abstract or analog analogy, imagine you have, do you know these pieces of paper where you write on top and print through, like print through paper?
Yes. Yeah.
Carbon copy paper, I think it's called. If you made an envelope of that and put a check inside that carbon copy envelope, and the check says, you owe me €1 now.
But without names,
Without anything, there might be like a random number in there. So
one of the numbers owes a certain amount of something to somebody else.
Like just a random number that we know it's unique. So we close the envelope, it has the check in there. I give it to you together with €1. You take the envelope, you sign on the outside, because you know if you sign it, it will be worth €1. And so you don't really care what's in there. You don't even have to look in. Then you keep the euro, so you have backing for this instrument, and you give me back the envelope. I can open the envelope, take out the check, and now I have a fully signed check that says that you owe me, or like that you owe the one who comes with the check, €1. And now I can give it to someone else, to Bob. And Bob comes to you and redeems it for the euro. And you don't know where did this check come from. Like maybe you issued 100 checks to 100 different people.
And none of this is actually like liquidated or settled in the on-chain.
No, nothing of that hits on-chain. It's all inside the Federation, so it's very, very cheap, very scalable, and
you don't have to pay fees.
Exactly. So right now it might not be as apparent why this technology is useful, but when you think about it in, I don't know, 2022 or when was it, when we had like 10, $20 per transaction, you can't tell someone in the global south or in a lot of countries that are not like US, basically, to pay that much money to just move their own money. That's unfeasible. If you're making like $5 a day, then paying $10 to just create a Lightning channel or to make an on-chain transaction, it's, yeah, what are you even asking of this person? It's crazy.
And why do you think somebody will prefer using some Fedi or even other implementations like Cashew instead of using actual Bitcoin?
So first let's make a distinction here. Like Cashew is also eCash protocol, but it's not federated. So it has a way higher custody risk because there's one central party that's running it can run away with the money, while with Fedimint, multiple people would have to conspire against you. Now, when you compare this approach to just using plain on-chain Bitcoin, I think it's the price. It's clearly superior. You cannot like compete with an off-chain system with on-chain transactions. But then let's compare to other off-chain systems, like Lightning, for example. Lightning is very complex. Managing your own Lightning node is infeasible for most people. It still requires on-chain transactions. And even if you automate the Lightning channel management, like in Phoenix Wallet, these on-chain transactions can become quite expensive. There are some other very interesting protocols in development, like Arc or Spark, and they might have a more competitive like way of handling fees. But there the problem is they tend to centralize. With Arc, it's pretty
straightforward, but it's centralized.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk to people that know about these protocols, and when you think about it a little bit, it becomes apparent that there will be like maybe 5 to 10 Arc service providers at most.
Yes.
Or like, it will not be in the thousands or millions. While with a system like Fedimint, it's easily imaginable that we'll one day have millions of federations around the globe that are all interconnected via Lightning. They can all transfer money between each other because they have Lightning as their lingua franca, and can even interact with other systems like Arc or Spark or like even centralized wallets, Coinbase, whatever. Like anyone who is speaking Lightning, but the trust is on a local level and Bitcoin stays decentralized. Because every community is still validating the chain, because the guardians of that community, these 4 people that run it, they still validate the Bitcoin blockchain.
And will it be possible, or is it possible already for a local community or local federation to interact with another federation?
Totally. I mean, I've been using the Fedi wallet as my daily driver for 1.5 years, mostly for Lightning transactions and things.
Okay.
So I was paying here when we met outside for the pizza and the lemonade with Fedimint, with eCash, but over the Lightning network, which connects me to the payment terminals here.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So being in a federation, like imagine the situation of a person that lives that only has used the IOU issued from a federation, and then comes here to the Baltic Honey Badger conference and wants to pay something to it outside. He will be able to pay with Bitcoins, okay?
He will be able, and I can explain how it works because it's kind of interesting. Because we only talked about the on-chain Bitcoin and the multisig so far, and then the eCash that you get in return for that. But there was no Lightning yet. So how we deal with that in Fedimint is there's a so-called Lightning Gateway, which connects the Federation, the community, to the wider Lightning network, and exchanges eCash for Lightning payments and the other way around, and takes a little fee for that.
Okay. And how is the exchange rate between those? Because the eCash node only exists in the federation, isn't it?
But like the eCash node that's worth 1 Satoshi is worth 1 Satoshi.
Okay.
It's fully backed, so there's no exchange rate.
1-to-1.
It's just a service provider that will happily exchange eCash for Lightning payments.
Okay.
And that way you become interoperable with everything that exists in Bitcoin pretty much.
Oh, that's amazing. I till this moment, I believe it was another kind of, like another node, another currency, but it's
No.
Bitcoin.
It's Bitcoin. It's backed by Bitcoin 100%, and you can, for all intents and purposes, treat it like Bitcoin as long as you trust your community. And I think especially in the global south, maybe less so in the Western world these days, there are still a lot of strong communities where there's still local trust. And I think that's a superpower. And that's the superpower we are harnessing with Fedimint.
Are you already in Fedimint at trying to promote this in some communities?
Yes, we have multiple communities in the global south, so Latin America, Africa, especially Kenya, and Asia. So we have people on the ground who are training communities, who are showing them how to use Bitcoin, how to use Fedimint, and as the commonly Fedi, I have to say, like that Obi, Justin Moon, and I co-founded to promote Bitcoin usage and to bring Bitcoin to billions. That's the goal. We want to see circular economies exist in the world, and them using Bitcoin in the most private and most decentralized way possible.
And how has been the reception of this technology between this community?
Great. I can't say which community, but I already met someone here at the conference who was telling me how excited they are about all the progress we made over the last year. I mean, building such a grand vision takes time, but so far the feedback has been very positive, and we're finally getting to our vision to where we wanted to be when we started the project. So very happy about that.
And you as a company have any numbers about the adoption rate? Or can you know how many people inside every federation is using the system?
So that's actually really hard to tell because of the privacy properties. Like I already said that the federation can see how much volume there is, but it cannot really tell how many users there are.
And the volume of transactions or the volume of Bitcoin?
Volume of transactions and volume of Bitcoin being transacted.
Okay.
But it's not attributable to any users. So you can't really tell if it's 1 user, 10 users.
Yeah.
You can kind of talk to the communities, and since we have people on the ground as Fedi, that works. So we have some insights. I'm not sure if I can share them, but there's like multiple communities already using Fedi and Fedimint day to day. And
what would you say is the advantage for a community for using Fedi instead of Bitcoin, instead of regular Bitcoin?
I mean, as I said, in the end, we're using regular Bitcoin just in a more custodial. Yeah, in a more custodial way, in a community custodial.
Maybe the advantage is not having the necessity of administrating or managing the private keys.
You still have to manage private keys. You can back them up with your community. That's actually a big benefit, that you can we can have. If you can see each other face to face regularly, then we have something called social backup and recovery, where you would deposit your private key with like the guardians of Federation.
Okay.
And if you ever lose it, then you can go to like 3 or 4 of them, and if they verify you or you, then you can recover.
Okay.
But the main advantage is the technical complexity of using Bitcoin is driven down without centralizing the way you use Bitcoin, or without fully relying on like a centralized third party. Like you're relying on a federation, on multiple people, to be honest, not a single party, and they're close to you. They're from your local social circle. That's a big difference to, for example, Vault of Satoshi, where someone, I don't really know who it is, they're somewhere else in the world, and they could at any point run away from one. So that's a huge difference in my opinion.
It's a great gateway to enter to the space and to be able to use Bitcoin without the regular technical hurdles.
Yes, and without the high costs involved with running your own Lightning node, for example. All the on-chain transactions right now it might be cheap, but just think back 3 or 4 years ago. It was very expensive. So we'll get back there if Bitcoin becomes really successful. Like we always need to be forward-looking in this when you're building things. Will regular people still be able to make transactions? I doubt it. Like I think a transaction piece of hundreds of dollars will be the norm if Bitcoin becomes a global reserve asset and a global like asset that people use day to day.
Great. Well, Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing. And maybe I'll go with Freddy.
Thank you.